I like it, baby. Wait, get you a little more. Yeah, okay. Get you in there. What's up?
What's up? So, welcome to another episode of Conversations in Sound with Clear Vision Television. Appreciate you for coming by. We are in the studio with none other than LBC's finest, Quadroon.
Why, thank you for having me, Spacey. Absolute pleasure to be here. Yeah. Immaculate.
So, we're going to dive into it today. You're about to drop a full new EP called
Correct.
Ancient Wisdom.
Exactly. Full, hopefully length LP that will come out, some 12-inch vinyl just locked in, as well as some 7-inch singles, some listening parties on the rise, The Woods, January 10th, Hollywood, pull up. It's going to go down. Yeah, so we're set for a top of the year exclusive release on Bandcamp for streaming purchase, and then the DSPs will likely come about 3 weeks from that point, probably co-synchronizing with one of the listening parties up in San Francisco or Oakland. So
nice.
It's exciting times, dude. Yeah.
So how long has this project been in the works for you?
You know, somebody just asked me that too. I was trying to think. I didn't end up looking at the email, but Miles, producer, shout out to Miles Ryder, executive producer of the whole album and definitely primary visionary. He had reached out to me, I want to say, sometime at the beginning of summer with a kind of idea for a project, a slew of beats, a wide range of sonics.
Yeah.
And then, he said, like, hey, I really want this to be called Ancient Wisdom, and to have the intention of the album to really be connecting traditional heritage in terms of, like, the sample selections, as well as kind of the meanings of the songs, as well as the ties of the kind of narratives interwoven throughout the album. And yeah, it was really inspirational with several different specific song ideas, specific title names, and so yeah, it was really a grand package. And again, I want to say there was some, probably 6 to 8 months ago that we kind of started. Immediately made some demos, and then from there have just been refining slowly but surely, reaching out, getting a couple really phenomenal, legendary features, nonetheless, none other than Santana Fox.
Oh, hell yeah.
R.I.P. Prodigy's daughter, as well as Crime Apple, and New Jersey-based phenomenal MC, within the kind of drumless hip-hop loop, very lyrical forward, Alchemist, style. Yeah. And then OG Dave, a Bay Area based MC who's had tons of like productions and pieces, and some of the most phenomenal movies that have come out over the Black Panther one that comes off top. And so yeah, a collection of some really talented individuals. Miles has produced the whole thing, and yeah, I'm really trying to lead forward on the pen, cultivate an experience of kind of bringing some of the classic, we've talked many times, the philosophy that I've become fascinated in, and the traditional texts and lineages of not only religions but patterns of thought and practice, but to do so in a way that felt non-dogmatic, and was something that was rather telling what the wisdom was more just establishing the parameters of the fact that wisdom itself is ancient, is timeless, and that is present. Yeah. And so though it can feel like it's just like a past thing, and once again, yes, some of the vibes of the album kind of range on the, medieval-esque to, okay, like some almost tribalistic elements, as well as the stuff which you would associate with older times, right, in history. And yet, the content of the album, and definitely kudos to Miles' production, very just grounded in a modern hip-hop, some boom bap, some 808s, some kind of more trap, some kind of more experimental, some kind of more classic drum loop sample based. And so it was really fun process that me and Miles have worked together several times in the past. Never have done like a one-off album together, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
But we have tons of chemistry and have, he lives up in the Bay. So we've been able to link up a couple times and did a listening party in Dallas, but for the most part have just stayed in consistent contact and going back and forth in terms of merch, in terms of mix notes, in terms of, getting press release and just doing creative things that, really surges in the collaboration sphere. And he's definitely very motivated and capable in those regards. So it's cool because it challenges me as well as, I don't know, it feels like a project that truly is something where I'm always proud of what I do, but there's an element of like, hey, this is really good, even beyond pride. Like, this is just like feels like maximizing our potential uniqueness as creatives, synchronizing with, if I was to look out in the world and be like, what could we use right now? What does it seem like I could offer? Something of this sort is right up that alley. So really, really excited and feel like, with some of the notable individuals on it, as well as the traction of approaching doing, these listening parties and gathering and kind of putting the feet on the ground and just not standard performance, but kind of a variety of different like interactive entertainment, while also just kind of like cultivating space to hang out and converse around quality art, and then from there obviously sell some of the cool merchandise we're working on. It's really motivating and seems like it's a step in the direction of a vision that will really culminate for something super grandiose. We have the ceiling for the vision of Ancient Wisdom is uncapped, from traveling and community events and nonprofits and educational spaces and, interaction within schools. Like, the sky's really the limit. So the music's kind of the entryway, and this album, I think 10 years I'll look back on and be like, wow, what a sacred baby, and something that we'll hit the 10-year anniversary tour, So yeah, shouts to all the people. Shouts to Miles, shouts to Crime, shouts to Dave, Santana, and any individual, like my buddy Chris even was helping with some of the masters. So anybody that's been a part of it, but excited to share not only with community here today and on the webs, give somewhat of, once again, perhaps a little sneak preview or a just has released, depending the timing, obviously, of the release of this, project itself, and this podcast. But nonetheless, like really, really excited and glad to be in the space and be able to share with you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear about your whole journey with Miles overall, diving through your discography a bit. Came across songs like Coca Leaf Tea and just could hear that chemistry you all have together and that songwriting, but also like storytelling element to the style of music that you're making together, and really the intentional drive behind it all of like really shaping the songs and the samples and the instrumentals to your lyrics to have these different energies and expressions built into it. It is part of kind of what we were talking about in our last conversation of like really embodying that improv that the universe feels like, and also the expression and the point of it all of like, for you at least, in your opinion, we're saying it's sharing it in live experiences and like being able to dive into new ventures, like going out to Texas and like collaborating with like a brewery to make a new beer focused around the project, or like the EP itself, but overall that like those messages of like ancient wisdom that you're flowing about shines through all the actions and like collaborations that you're able to do with the listening parties, and just like different creative techniques of like bringing people together to socialize outside of like just listening to a song or having that normal like press run of like I don't even know how to put it into words other than just like something that feels a little bit more like catered or like staged versus something that's like more natural and organic, like a listening party.
Sure.
Or like how you put it, like it made me visualize when like artists have like art galleries or mixers, and they just have all their paintings everywhere, and everyone's just able to vibe and like conversate.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's how I envision like how your listening parties could potentially feel, like where the music's playing and you have little like conversations between the songs, or even just letting everyone freely flow and absorb the music. There's just so much, like the sky's the limit when it comes to like potential ideas. And like coming from another like Bay Area artist that I am really inspired by, Toru Imwa. He has a project that was more of like a side project for him that he got to collaborate with all of his like childhood homies from the Bay Area.
Sweet.
Called Soul Trash. And
love that.
Outside of like what he was making with his like major funded like albums through different labels, that was more of like a really honed in sound for him. Soul Trash was like his more experimental. He got to dive into like SoundCloud rap, like Playboy Cardi almost sounding beats, or like vocal modulation effects. But the songs about Soul Trash are like super coated with esoteric like motifs and just like his own personal lore as like a creative journey. And one of the songs that like hit me to the core was this song. Forget the full name of it because it has like numbers, like it's like a demo file name almost. But it has like Rose Tron, I believe. But he talks about like, I'm feeling so anxious because I'm tapping into some shit that feels ancient.
Like that, anxious ancient.
And like
time.
Feeling that like overwhelmingness of like the potential of everything, or like learning these different like ancient bits of wisdom through whatever religion or whatever source of inspiration that you may have, where it makes you feel that sense of like everything everywhere happening all at once, but also that like divine spark of like, whoa, we're all activated and have this magic and can get shit happening. Let's get it.
Let's make it happen. Yeah.
So,
everything happening all at once, but also only everything happening only once.
Yeah, in that way it's like very having that awareness almost of like how precious it is to be able to like share experiences and share your like vulnerability or your creative voice, really. Listening to the first single of Ancient Wisdom that you have released, the self-titled track, it really, towards the end of the song, you have this like mantra almost about talking about the 5 pillars of hip-hop within the 5 religions. Would you be able to like dive more into that concept? Or is that like a theme almost of something that relates throughout other tracks on the EP?
Yeah. I mean, the 5 pillars is definitely one of the like primary kind of topics that, you know, we wanted to target and hit throughout the album. And I think, you know, the next track that will be proceeding in the album more is called Yellow Belly Finch, and at the end there's a tribute to the 5 senses versus the 5 pillars of hip hop. And so I think on another level, it's, you know, something about the archaeology of ideas is in some ways the superimposition of patterns, where like historians are kind of more artists in a certain light, rather, you know, than scientists, for example. But I think in drawing those patterns, noticing the core 5 elements of hip hop, which you don't know, okay? Anybody listening out there? Huge, okay? You have DJing, okay? Start the scratching, the management of the music. You have MCing, perhaps rapping, but also even just not even necessarily rapping, you know, just the master of ceremony, somebody kind of orchestrating the environment in that way. You have b-boys, who are the individuals actually then moving to and with the music, so the break dancing that coincides. You have graffiti, which is the visual element, somewhat tactile, whole hidden language system, information transfer, hidden identities, you know, be seen but not known. And then you have beatboxing. And so hip-hop is a cultural movement, not just like a musical genre for that matter, as a process, as a technique of self-discovery. It's a perfect, to me, example of kind of the core of the album, where it's like hip-hop is undeniably a modern phenomenon if we were to judge it as like a genre, right? upon examination, it seems to emanate and be somewhat of a syllogism or an extension of these patterns which have been occurring for centuries, if not millennia, right? In terms of technique, of reference, and at the core of hip-hop, on the writing side, on the emceeing side, and on the dance side, or even the tagging, the redefinition of events via the own slangification, definition, and essentially like capturing of one's voice, the empowerment of that kind of process, perhaps, or one's expression being in a community where that's like recognized of some sorts. So I think on some surface there was just an intuition where, wow, okay, kind of simply, wow, these things are both 5. That's cool. Let's do some, not numerology, but let's just compare those. That's interesting. Why so?
Yeah.
Why is it that we seem to find the best way to describe that is in 5 pillars of hip hop, which seems to be this, in my opinion, very perfect kind of not encompassing definition, but like the different little compass points of the boundary or of the spectrum of some sorts.
Yeah.
In the same way that we find it appropriate to say there's 5 senses, and everybody seems to kind of gel with that or be able to distinguish them. And for that matter, I mean, the religions, obviously way more than 5, like 5 classical, worldly religions. I think in the theme of the album, it made sense to also draw upon from that, once again, saying something that somebody knows.
Yeah.
And, I think I like how you mentioned your interpretation of it, like kind of like a mantra, like at the end of ancient wisdom, because there are different encounters and samples of actual mantras, but from the standpoint of like the energy of kind of the celebration, or once again a much tribalistic, like marching around the fire, like in like a celebration, and like a not just a positive, not just an uplifting, not aggressive necessarily, but like a firm, like yes, and kind of like a respect that comes with a responsibility that then is most naturally bound up in some kind of pride identity relationship of some sorts,
Yeah.
And so I think in terms of that is the first track of the album, and so kind of the title track, first song we released into the world, really feels like it sets the stage in all of the veins of kind of what you're to experience. And then immediately upon hearing the second song, Yellow Belly Finch, it becomes clear, oh wow, okay, the sonic variety is going to be pretty wide range. I mean, they sound very different just from the jump, in my personal opinion, and that continues over the course of the next couple songs before some themes, or I would say like kind of production styles, seem to not repeat but rhyme, if you will, in some ways. Yeah. So it's a really cool, like you're establishing that ancient wisdom parameter almost by setting up, if you will, 4 or 5 songs in the same way, 4 or 5 pillars to try to define something like hip hop, or 4 or 5 senses, 5 senses to try to define something like sense perception.
Yeah.
That's something that I think as a writer myself, or one of my styles, or one of my like interests, or just how my brain or mind ends up working, is like associating those types of things, and then just kind of contrasting them, and then seeing like, oh yeah, could you metaphorically associate one pillar with one sense?
Yeah.
Is beatboxing like taste, and rapping's like, I don't know. You can play with it, right? But it's a whole jam, yeah. And so I'm just into that jam, into that stuff
same.
for sure. Yeah.
I feel like it would be a fun little workshop or like exercise to be able to like keep it open almost, to where you can't really put a label on each of them, because they could all kind of like blend into one or the other sometimes.
For sure.
With a certain lens. But going into the next like songs on the project, how did you set up the track order to follow that first single?
Well, I'd like to give a lot of kudos and shouts to Miles once again, as we already have, but he had a pretty defined order from the jump, but like definitely a vision for that. And so we have some, as power with any collaboration, right? Like you have chemistry, you have some similarities of thought, you then have differences and uniquenesses that on the more difficult side, which is like rare, but right, like, okay, situations where you disagree comes to like, okay, how you go about, in some ways splitting the difference or mutually compromising maybe your preferences that don't totally align. On the positive side, it's like, oh, wow, you see something totally different in a way that I would, and yet I fuck with how you see it, how you're like, oh, that's a great idea, right? And so, yeah, I'm not going to say like I would order guys that almost like totally opposite, but Miles came in with an order, and the second I kind of saw it, I was like, yeah, that's fire. I wouldn't even have thought of it in that way. And so, yeah, I would say the introduction to the album is the first 5 tracks, kind of going off this 5 theme, are setting kind of the cards on the table. And then the preceding 5 tracks, not while they follow every single one of those tracks, like they're not all categorized in couplets or something. But some of the, if you were to throw like labels or production styles of, okay, these being kind of the more boom bappy songs, these being perhaps a little bit trappier, these being more, intentionally or more explicitly encoded with samples of non-English languages or references to gods of religions or deities or specific, right? Like, so some of those are more forward, where some of them are a little more reserved. It's like, our final title track, Slay the Buddha, it's just kind of a banger with a cool name, and then like some rhymes, that like end in that and like cultivate to that, and fits the theme. But it is, in some kind of core, it is just like the classic braggadocio, cool hip hop, boom bap, like so it is cool because I feel like we're trying to kind of bring those together, where it's like making statements, making, kind of claims and creating new memes. One of the songs, 27 Club. And so really praising specific homage, not only to those that pass at young ages and specifically some of those artists, but I myself now being, 27, there's a resonance with that of just, to your point earlier, of the preciousness of life and of sharing that. Emanating that and having that be one of perhaps the more, I would say, experimental tracks per se, but earlier in the song order lineup. I think once again from the POV, we'll see feedback, and I'd love to get yours. Seems like it kind of again takes you on a ride. It's a couple different left turns right from the jump, and then you start to kind of like come back to like, oh, okay, a little bit like this, and then kind of returns to not total familiarity, but brings you on that roundabout. So that's one way I go about like describing kind of the order and the song structure. And then from there, we did implement a series of samples and themes to obviously attempt to stitch that even further, as well as, in certain cases, certain sample ideas did somewhat dictate which songs would interlace, because it was like, oh, this fits better in this song, this fits better in this song, and wow, what these samples are referring to go so well together. It kind of ties those songs in a way that priorly, if those samples weren't there, you wouldn't necessarily think of. So, really cool, filled with tons of little Easter eggs in that way. There's a depth to the texture, while also hopefully just like a surface level enjoyment. You can be able to put it on.
Oh yeah.
Not listen to anything specifically, and still have the impression of, okay, that was good, or that was a good time, that was some good music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
A lot of my favorite hip hop projects are honestly when a beat maker and an MC come together and make some magic.
For sure.
And like you can see the depth, like the sonic depth, when they add all these like little Easter eggs. Like one of my favorites is Danger Doom. Like the Danger Mouse Doom collab, where it's like so many samples from Adult Swim and like little sound bites that complement with the lyrics and all that. Beastie Boys is like another really good example. Like the Dust Brothers, they collab with like Beck, and there's just so many like talented ones, like The Alchemist. Like you could go on, but like that, like a little like almost like the feeling of like pulling down the fader, and it's just that like smooth, like creamy texture. of like when a song transitions into the next and you can't even tell when the song ends. It like creates this like cinematic feel almost,
For sure.
or like a holy moment kind
sure.
of. That really puts you in this like world of the album or project, and being able to create the set order is like a piece of that formula or part of the puzzle. But like you were saying, like being able to collaborate and let the sparks fly between you and your collaborator, the producer, he's gonna have other perspectives that you might not have seen from the get-go, versus like the spontaneity of like creating songs in the moment and then eventually having like a collection of songs to like flush out and try to stitch together.
100%, yeah.
Especially when they're like as versatile as this project is going to be, with a range of different emotions and genres almost.
For sure.
How would you like to start tuning into the project today, giving people a little sneak peek? Like, are there certain songs you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be just to perhaps first go a little bit through the order.
Yeah.
Track 2 is titled Yellow Belly Finch. And I did mention a little bit before, there is a continuation of the theme of 5 pillars of hip-hop, continuation of the theme of 5, the number 5, which in some ways is a sacred number, we must say as well. The energy of it is, especially comparative to ancient wisdom, a little less on the aggressive side and starting to kind of reel ourselves into, kind of take a step within now. Okay, hopefully there's been an attraction at the beginning. Come see a little bit more of what's going on. It's a very directive verse in terms of talking kind of very direct towards the listener, rather than not necessarily on a mixed side, but in terms of the verse's content, is very engaging that way, and hopes to kind of set a stage of like an intimate relationship between me as the MC, Quadroon, and then whoever is listening, where it feels like, hey, I'm talking to you, and like we're aware of that, we're playing with that fourth wall a little bit in some ways.
Yeah.
While also, attempting to showcase a different color, than what we just did with the ancient wisdom, which has a certain flavor color. It's called purple. This is, this is yellow belly Finch.
Yeah.
Obviously, so,
Do you remember? Didn't start from the bottom, started from the center. The center, the center, the center, the center, the center, the center, the center. It goes wind, water, metal, fire, and earth. The unified divided into 5 elements dispersed. Wind, water, metal, fire, and earth. The unified divided into 5 elements dispersed. Each in clay, stovetop, kettle, and porcelain cup too. Wood grain, tato, shadow, steamless, gung fu. Through the 3 times and all they folds of the path. My 5 senses, 6 gonzas follow 4 noble truths. Number 1, no life is suffering, obvious. And the cause of the suffering is craving. Number 2, sometimes cravings translated attachment. The identification with preferences, aversions and attractions. That leads me to number 3, the climax of this passage. When craving is relinquished, suffering will vanish, and from there it will be seen to never have begun. The ending of something which never even happened. Void of substance, left empty-handed, with the voice in the circumference of your head steady chatting, while most of us spellbound, literally enchanted, literarily abandoned by your God who created this goddamn planet. Take my fist, one slamming, but then I wait a minute, I'm only as good as my sins. So I watch the anger wash out with the deep breath in. It goes sight, hear, and touch, smell and taste. The unified divided into 5 senses displayed. It goes sight, hear, and touch, smell and taste. The unified divided into 5 senses displayed.
Hip-hop, what is it? Hip-hop is the study of self-transformation and the pursuit of self-expression. It began begins as an awareness that enables us to transform subjects and objects in an attempt to describe or change the character and desires of our inner being. Let me say that again. Hip-hop begins as an awareness that helps us to change and transform subjects and objects.
Yeah, baby. A little bit of that swink.
Yeah, that one definitely gives me the yellow energy you're talking about.
That's good. That's good.
And is that an accordion sample?
Yes, I do believe. I wish we had Miles here to ask, because I think it's accordion-like. I don't believe specifically, but I should ask him.
Yeah.
I think it's a balaclava.
Interesting. It reminds me of
I'm pretty sure, actually. Yeah, now that I'm thinking but it does sound accordion-like.
The whole
for sure.
beat itself sounds like something out here in like Super Mario Sunshine almost.
Yeah.
But like obviously like boom bap interpolated.
For sure.
But
for sure.
The energy of your voice on that song versus or like on complemented against the first song. Is such a more like you can feel from the energy or the expression that's more of like almost like a guru talking to a student, or like the student recognizing they are their own guru by hearing your voice and like tapping into these like ancient wisdom bits of like the Four Noble Truths and being able to tie in the five senses and the five elements and like really create this macrocosm and microcosm experience with your symbols and like imagery.
Yeah.
That's a fucking sick one.
No, hell yeah, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I think there's an element of kicking it off with something highly reflective that sets the stage also for not only an introspective album, but creating a sense of like the person listening being seen. In some ways, like, kind of was assuming, like, if you've already clicked on or you're listening to an album called Ancient Wisdom, like, you're probably yearning for something in your heart, you know?
Yeah.
And so from there, it's like, yo, like, I see you. Like, let's chop it up right now. Let me give you a little, and then just a little bit of the flavor of the unique verbatim and word choices that is the speaker. So kind of hopefully slightly warming to that, but also like, all right, we got to peel the curtains back. You made it here, like, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Just
so, yeah,
that little like introduction to the project with the first song, you giving that like little hint of like purple energy for that song makes me visualize like kind of like a dusk feeling in the city, like some Gotham vibes, or like setting the stage or whole like theme of the whole EP of like get ready to let the curtains unfold. It's like that drone shot of like setting the stage of like a theater at nighttime and everyone's piling into the theater.
That's right. That's right.
And like you get hit with that mantra of like introducing those 5 pillars of hip hop and the correlation. And then the next song feels like waking up the next morning after those curtains have been drawn. We don't know what the whole play has been yet, but this next song is like the people who are there waking up in the morning and feeling like rejuvenated, or like tapping back into your voice as the speaker, giving them these like personal senses of reflection, or like inner like kind of reminders, almost like when you read things that stand out to you or listen to songs that remind you of like, oh yeah, like I knew that, but it gives me like this sense of like curiosity or joy, or like stokes your wonder a bit.
For sure.
So I'm excited to see where it leads next.
Yeah, dude, the next song, 27 Club, we'll try the opposite here. I'll play this one first, and then you can ask or inquire, and that way that'll be fun to explore.
You ever had a nervous breakdown? Yeah, about 3 of them since I've been in this group, since I've been in this business,
Really?
In regard to what has happened with the deaths of Al Wilson and Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, where do you feel music is going, and why are they burning themselves out like this?
Well, I guess that great creative burst of energy that happened.
Going too soon, going too young. God, you got us fucked up, ain't got no clue what you do. I not even want the impact on the wherever they from. So won't you give it up for the 27 Club? The 27
I don't really care enough about what people think of me to compose or anything.
The 27 Club. The 27
And usually I finish a record, and the next week, I know exactly what I'm doing next.
Hey yo, legend in the making, there's legends in the sky. Legends in the pavement and legends of the mind. These legends never tainted, legends over time. Legends never changing, legends never die. My pack loud as I rap sound. Track now, Amy Winehouse playing in the background. While my son laugh out loud and jigs on the wall. When I close my eyes, I see a packed crowd dancing round the system maxed out. Give me a beat that I beat, I need something to fast now. Hitting the shit with the flick of the wrist, on the miss of the whips, I crash out. I'm back now, rap out loud, my style is the one. I don't wanna be a member of the 27 Club. Gone too soon, gone too young. God, you got us fucked up, ain't got no clue what to do. I not even one, they impact universal, no matter wherever they from. So won't you give it up for the 27 Club? The 27
I don't really care enough about what people think of me.
27 Club. The 27 Club. The 27 Club.
It took me a while to figure out like what I wanted to say, what kind of music I wanted to make.
But that's not my theory on why people die. You know,
What is your
they all. Sometimes it could be an accident. Sometimes it could be suicide. Sometimes it could be murder. There are a lot of ways people die. I don't really know.
That song is automatically legendary.
Okay, yeah, from Much Love, bro. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
it gives
sweet.
me like, in high school, I was mind blown by the whole Beast Coast scene and like Flapper Zombies, like pro era underachievers.
Crazy, yeah.
And like the ways they used to embed samples into their songs was just like so immersive.
It was so fun too, yeah.
Like songs like Face Off, because they would bring like these like full on like news broadcasts of like shit that was like happening, like when the zombies in Florida were like ripping people's faces off from bath salts.
No, totally.
And they like were able to create that into their songs, but like hearing all those samples of like the people who, like famous people who died when they were 27, like people in the 27 Club, gives the lyrics of the song such like almost like an eerie depth whenever I've heard anyone in music talk about the 27 Club. Especially I've noticed since like the whole SoundCloud rap era of like people in the hip hop community being intrigued or really like obsessed about this like idea of the rock star lifestyle, and people like Kurt Cobain has become such like a martyr almost even in the hip hop scene, especially for people who listen to like more like emotional rap or like Lil Peep kind of energy in general.
Okay.
See Kurt Cobain as like this martyr almost, but then Denzel Curry even has like a whole project about this of like Clout Cobain, of like getting to this level in the industry when fame and money and all these things and social pressures are coming at you, your label's coming at you to like put you on stage just to entertain people and really just like take advantage of your like creative spark, kind of on the same essence of the energy of what Kurt Cobain brought to the whole industry and like that revolutionary spirit of the 90s. And like everyone in the 27 Club had that revolutionary spirit or just like energies throughout their career. And people who are idols or legends who have been able to live on after their music, like Mac Miller or like OG legends like Sly Stone or something, like they knew in their hearts that they weren't gonna be here for that long. Prince even, like we're just like in a place that we call home, that's Earth, for this limited amount of time, so like might as well try to make something timeless that's gonna outlive our mortal bodies and be able to relate and resonate with future generations. And I don't know, just like hearing their voices and using media in a way to preserve their spirits or their energy, and then being able to like riff off of that with your own personal POV of like being 27, seeing the whole like zeitgeist of his pop culture, and then also those like social pressures of like what it is to be an artist in the 21st century versus like the OGs.
27th century.
Yeah, what's it gonna be like then? That's mind blowing.
That'll be wild. That'll be
Will
wild.
music
and
be
that's a little foreshadow to a song
sensory?
called down the line. Yeah, what sensory what?
Oh yeah, I'm just like tripping. Like if music, I feel like it's gonna be embedded with technology in a way that's like biotechnology almost by that point.
Okay, yeah, I smell what you're stepping in.
Because like,
and in fact, I just smelled it, and now I see it.
Yeah.
Now I hear it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That, I don't know. That's hundreds of years.
They've quite literally. Yeah, no, totally. No, dude, really, really well said. There's a couple things in that you said that I would want to touch upon. One is the eerie quality for sure, right?
Yeah.
There's something really sacred. There's something in doing like samplings with people who've passed and just like really thinking about having known those individuals personally, not just as public images, like what their voice, knowing that like it's out there for just random people. Somebody like me, like just an artist, like is like now using someone's son's voice, right? Just because it was like, sorry.
Yeah.
So there is like kind of a responsibility, like to do that like meaningful, right? Or do it like touching on the kind of second point, like to extend the life of the individual and their greatness, while simultaneously the whole content of the song is and set up by that eeriness of like, oh wait, these people aren't past, and wait, why were they all so talented, and wait, why did it all seem like you not saw it coming, but like it could have been stopped, or and this is not limited to music. This isn't limited to I want to say it's not limited to just being famous, right, or something, or being an entertainer of some sorts, but it is, I think, a modern phenomenon of sorts where we have the conditions where people are expected to live like much longer than the age 27.
Yeah.
In addition to noting kind of that juxtaposition of, whoa, some of the best things, right? Take any of the songs, Jimi Hendrix, Amy Winehouse, Mac Miller, May, can be right by some of the worst things.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, yo, I remember taking a history of like popular music in Santa Cruz. And like when one of the first lectures, one of the things the dude said blew my mind. He's like, heroin has many sounds. And it's like, yeah, damn, like, you trace it just from a chemical standpoint. Like, it's made some of the best music of all time. Like, why? How does that make sense? Why should that make sense? Is it okay? It brings up tons of more questions, which the song doesn't answer, right? And like, I think that the album does that constantly. I'm giving some takes. I'm also just trying to stimulate thought in a way where it just kind of sparks the convo, doesn't close it, and hopefully gets different discussions like this going. Hey, to judge someone's life is kind of impossible. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's kind of always hard to say. It depends what happens next. It could be a blessing, it could be a curse.
Real.
And so from there, to take standpoint and like dive into that, use our current position of existence in life in this form, I think there can be a playfulness to that which loosens the tightness of something that ultimately is a mystery, right? Because we really don't know what death is, so to just associate it as bad is immature. And yet to have that playfulness curtailed with a like the intelligent, mysterious, and kind of not just directly terrifying, but like eerie's the best word I'm thinking of, like a kind of queer, but like something's off feeling that comes with confronting death
Yeah.
in its different ways, whether we've had people that have passed, whether you've seen individuals pass, bodies and species of different animals and forms of life, and seen beings come into to form, right?
Yeah.
There's a level that I think this song really does that in a way where it takes some of our popular icons and idols, and the verse is just like me consuming their stuff. I love all these people.
Yeah.
And then it's being 27 and being like, wait, they were they were already done, and they did all, and like, whoa,
world travels.
So I mean,
the amount of energy exchanges they had across all the stages they played, and just like that rise to fame or notoriety. But then like, just through all the things you just threw out on the table right now, it made me think about like how the song itself, honestly, you could see it as like a cognitive map. Was like this idea I was told about, or like really like sprinkled to me in college about basically forms of media that can be seen as little like time capsules for different time periods. So it's like a cognitive map of like that individual or the culture's like point of view in that time period. And the ways like you look at that song, you can like have multifaceted conversations about like how your project correlates or corresponds with like different world religions, and how like different religions view death. And like the idea of the self. For like example too, like Prince was anti-ego almost, in a way of like not wanting to talk about his like merits or all of his like achievements because of his cultural background and like his personal religion. And then when I first moved to LA, I was like immersed in this like place called The Wisdom that had this movie almost about the Bhagavad Gita and like that whole culture of like the different, in their perspective, these different like dimensions or layers of reality that our spirits can elevate to as we transcend or reincarnate. And there's like lower levels and higher levels and different like tiers of spirits or entities that inhabit all of these levels. And when they were talking about the level that other cultures like Christianity or Judaism might refer to as heaven, that's just the first level of the higher dimensions for the Bhagavad Gita. And the souls or spirits that live in that dimension, and they believe this, are like people that were sent here to just, they were like angels almost, or like highest spirited entities that like came to bless humanity for a sec, because in their circle of samsara or their circle of reincarnation, they were already at that first level, but to transcend higher and higher, they have to keep returning to earth and share their gifts and share their talents with people. So that, to me, when I first was exposed to that concept, it like clicked. I was like instantly thought about like the 27 Club, or like people like Mac Miller, or like people like Jim Morrison, or like even like huge key revolutionary figures like Martin Luther King, or like historical figures over the past. It's like they live such a gnarly life with this media pressures and just like literally rewriting history in the moment, or like writing a new chapter of history with like their new thoughts or their perspective of the world at that time. So it kind of goes back into that idea of like a cognitive map. I think a lot of the artists that are part of the 27 Club left behind some sort of like legacy in a sense, or like wake through their just like crash dummy like experience of going through life. It's super insane.
Well, I think it sets up the next song really well, because I think a connected theme in a lot of these is problems with substances and addiction. And the next song, Coca Leaf Tea, just released singles, featuring Crime Apple, as I mentioned, New Jersey-based, bilingual MC, really dope, top shelf lyricism. And the verses are narratives in this, stories of different family members struggling with substances. And I think that's something that's in some ways with the 27 Club overemphasized and kind of minimizes, as with any side propagandic phenomenon of the war on drugs does. Oh, it was just a junkie, or it's just, et cetera, whatever. Kind of it covers up what could be more of a complex and nuanced situation, and does promote very actual interesting questions of like the correlation between people struggling with these and then making, it's not to say every dope fiend makes great music, right? But then, like, why are there so many great musicians that were dope fiends? The percentages seem to suggest something, not that it's causal, but that perhaps, once again, the conditions to be one of these revolutionary artists of some sorts is this level of pain or struggle, which can or cannot be resolved. And that's kind of out of the hands of even the artists themselves, perhaps. So I think, like kind of bringing that, having somewhat of sobering element, and then, telling some stories, essentially, in this next song, seeks to push those same themes while also there's kind of a common navigation of, like, big picture abstract, more of a specific intimate thing. Big picture abstract, more of a specific intimate thing. So it's kind of like Ancient Wisdom, Yellow Belly Finch, 27 Club, Coca Leaf Tea. There's a little bit of that kind of wave pattern that I think corresponds to it too. So.
Wow. Ay, huh? Wow. Fumando fino, chillin' by the rio. Coca leaf when I speak, y te da escalofrío. I cop the wheels, drop the body, then I push the roof back. Lot on my mind, I take a ride, I might smoke a few blacks. Lots of reflection, dependence do the same. With a pen that can stain anyone you mention in the game. Mentioning my name, that lead to firing, retirement. Don't take my word for it, press record, try the shit. Product of my environment, hoodie smelling like acetone. Fuck it, I'm a brand now, gotta leave a smack alone. Came up on marrying, cocaine, I married it. Drug dealer swag in the lab, I get arrogant. Yeah, that's apparent, but the math still math a lot. Crime doing numbers, track for track, you would rather not. No speed limit, hit the lot for a faster drop. Riding in some new shit, butterscotch, apricot.
Coca is not cocaine. Coca is to cocaine what potatoes are to vodka.
Coca Leaf Tea, promethazine, methamphetamines. This mess ain't but a dream. Back when the block was filled with crack, rock, and dime bags. My uncle flipped a zip, couple hondo for the rent, couple more for his kids, and the rest he would sniff quarter O's in his nose, slam the table with his fist. That's some good shit. Carried on until his habit became too dramatic for the set. Backstage rap felt he shattered what he built. Said his first prayer right before his final breath. And now I'm chillin' with my cuzzo. His shoulder hold the chuck low and cutthroat his neck. Follows in the same steps that his father took. Didn't wanna look at all the skeletons kept in the shed, Same shit, different toilets, instead of crack, rock boiling, pushing pills filled with poisons, and it's bringing him enjoyment. When I look into his eyes, I see a boy and a lost soul and acting out their own disappointment. Coca Leaf Tea, promethazine, methamphetamines. This mess ain't but a dream. Coca Leaf Tea, promethazine, methamphetamines. This mess ain't but a dream. This mess is not an accident. His intention is scheme, and my message should be gathering attention to the theme. We being treated like savages when we some human beings being sculpted in the attics like asses on the screen. The green in the ashes, the cabbage MSGs. Lean turn attractive and dope for the fiends. Discern the smoke from the screen, the O from the Z, and the hope from the dream.
Drugs themselves aren't good or bad, it's the relationship that we have with them.
This mess ain't but a dream. Coca Leaf Tea, promethazine, methamphetamines. This mess ain't but a dream. This mess ain't but a dream.
al retorno del equilibrio no solamente de la sagrada hoja de coca, sino al retorno del equilibrio de la vida en complementariedad.
I'm caught between two, I think. But the viewers here will be able to tap in sooner than later, so I think we should leave them off. I'll give you this question.
Okay.
Do you think the viewers or people tuning in would appreciate to hear the callback to year 3025 or to understand the banger behind Slay the Buddha?
Let's give it a bang. Let's give him the banger.
Slay the Buddha, bitch. Play the tuba. Chain gang, gang, gang. Played it Medusa. Lace your shoes up, let's get into it. I walked as many miles as my producer, so let's do it. What's it to ya? Other than a double tap, quick rush, quick nut, on a bubble butt. Chew you like some bubble gum. What is up? Same as down, that's above, so below. As a blow a cloud, rolling loud, hold it down. As the only in my sector. Lonely with the Lex, I'm professor the crowd. No homies around, just my head and the sound, and just my hand and the dialing. Turn it up, burn one up. You ever see the Buddha? You ever heard of her? Whenever you see the Buddha, you should murder her. Murder crows flown over my nose as I heard it. The next obstacle that arose, no hernia. But I've been tapping and stretching out at the seams when you struggle sleeping. It's hard to chase your dreams, yeah. I've been tapping and stretching out at the seams when you struggle sleeping. It's hard to chase your dreams. Slay the Buddha, bitch. Play the tuba. Chain gang, gang, gang. Played it Medusa. Lace your shoes up, let's get into it. I walked as many miles as my producer, so let's do it. You ever see the Buddha? You ever heard of her? Whenever you see the Buddha, you should murder her. Murder crows flown over my nose as I heard it. The next obstacle that arose. Go figure, it's the QQADROON. A cold spitter, grown bitter, but no quitter. My soul's thicker than old leather or malt liquor. Go get your full picture, bullshit, your half empty ass, half empty glass already smashed. Puff, puff, and then we pass. Puff, puff, and then we ash. Puff, puff, and then we brush like a dustpan. Enough, enough with the fluff. I must have that real shit. No more, no less. It's that real shit that you can fit in your chest, son. That real shit. No more, no less. It's that real shit. Want no part in the rest. It's the real shit. Like the heart in your chest. It's the real shit that really gets me out of bed in the field shit. Pumping nuts with the lead. Flip the kill switch. Like I'm flipping up heads. Shit is Will Smith. Drum slapping on stage and they still hit. When you bump for days. After disaster like Cassius Clay. Lost to Joe Frazier way back in the day. I think like 71. My daddy born in 68. My head weighs a ton. Got enough weight on my plate. I could change gravity with what I ate. And I don't say the casualty, my cavity's ate.
Fire.
Slay the Buddha. Yeah.
Even that title has like hella multi-entendres.
Give me a couple.
Off the rip, I feel like it means, or you could have it mean taking like a fat rip of some kush, slaying the Buddha, slaying your own, like having like an ego death almost.
Love it. Yes, exactly.
Would be the other interpretation that came to mind, and then even just like on another level of that is like killing your idols, or like the idea of like not even just Buddha or your own ego, is like anything that you idolize, whether it's like money, fame, material objects, like whatever.
Correct, which feels, again, and now that there's, there's several songs in between, but the trippy, and it's a maturation of like a lot of the previous themes, the 27 Club, the Coca Leaf Tea, once again the ideas of fighting your demons, fighting your angels, even fighting your Buddhas, right?
Gnarly.
as well as befriending and loving. No, I'm glad you messed with it, Diane. I'm super stoked on that.
Yeah, that's
I'm
insane. Because the other one that just hit me right now too, when you brought it up earlier, referencing it as like kind of like that classic like braggadocious boom bap style. But then the whole like, it's like almost ironic that it is that style or that's your view of it. But then the whole like message behind the song is like killing that braggadocious spirit.
Do it by doing it.
Yeah.
It's so meta. It's so meta.
Creating and destroying by destroying what you create.
Correct. Yeah, and I mean, inspired by, there is a text in, or there's a quote in Classical Zen text which does say, if you see the Buddha, kill him. Literally. And the quote is really profound and very maybe anti or contradictory or paradoxical to certain elements. At first you're trying to find Buddha, you're trying to find the Buddha within, you're trying to locate, okay, we're accessing within. On another level, it's like, if you think you see the Buddha, it's not the Buddha. Right? Because the Buddha will always transcend. So in some ways it's like a great, it's a warrior technique. And the technique is discipline by discernment, essentially. And discernment essentially meaning pattern distinction. And in the distinction, there's obviously a unification that happens. But when you emphasize the destruction side, there can be a cleanliness to the approach, because the ego is less likely to, not to say it can't identify with destruction, but it doesn't want the destruction itself. So if you say everything's all unified, I am one, you create them as positive messages with unification. It's much easier for an identity structure to say, oh yeah, that's great, let me take that on. Where if it's kill the Buddha, it's like, it's a little harder to like put that in the cards without then overleaning. And so, yeah, it's a profound statement, a profound quote, a profound end to a magnificent project. So I appreciate you sharing. I'm excited for you to get the full demo. Yeah. I'm excited now that we've done just those 5 songs. I will say as well, and again, however this gets cut, right? I'd like to keep this in. I don't care. Feel free to release it whatever. Like it's kind of cool. Like if it does come out a little bit early, and it's just like that's where you can cop some of the access and just like be able to. That would be dope, honestly. If it, so why not? And then if it does happen after, then obviously you could play the entirety of the album, even some of the songs that we like didn't discuss per se, and interlace those with it as well. But yeah, super dope, dude. I'm glad you messed with him. So tell me, I have a question for you now in our final like 8 minutes or two. I want to be respectful of the space. Let me frame this appropriately, because I know you could talk about it, but I'm like, what would be the most interesting way? Tell me what ancient wisdom is not. Give me like a negative definition, if you know what I'm saying.
Of like what is
so like one way I could ask you, like, hey, so what do you think ancient wisdom is all about? Like the music, the song, the album, also just like the theme, the concept. In some ways, let me do the opposite. Like, what is, from now that exposure, from our conversations, like, what is it not?
Yeah, I don't think it follows the normal trends of what social media and like kind of this like anxiety almost that I was like riffing on earlier about Toro and Ma bringing that up in Soul Trash, of like so many artists nowadays. I feel this sense of like anxiety when I go to certain shows or just hop on Instagram or socials and like hear all these like coaches or like music executives almost, or like bands talk about the need to like just keep feeding this content machine, or like creating all these like strategic like content calendars, or all like this, that, and the other, of like instead of just like freely flowing with like your own personal creative process and like fine-tuning your intention behind what you're creating and actually having the willingness and receptivity to like want to share it with people in an intentional way. So to me, ancient wisdom is not that like almost like junk food-esque version of how albums are being generated or music's being made right now, especially with the rise of like AI music, Like that is
Damn
a whole
straight.
ass
Yo,
conversation.
This is AW. This ain't AI.
Like,
shit, yo, this
like
is
Warner
AW.
and, like-
Yeah, some of I think the AI fears come down to. Josh Johnson does a great bit on this. You're familiar with Josh Johnson? Yeah. He's like, oh, one of the scariest things with AI is like, you sit down, you have this thing, oh my God, I can do anything. You start doing your crank in the first hour, and then after an hour, you're like, what do I even do? You're like, you realize how few ideas you have. And it's like, yo, like, it's only a problem if you're concerned or sensitive to the amount of creativity which you currently uphold, right? If you consider yourself creative, and this is the power of creativity and like defining yourself as a creative person, defining yourself as an artist in a world where, though these are more friendly terms than perhaps they've ever been, and there are structures, there are businesses, there are a bunch of money surrounding these things, they still are ultimately at some phase for a lot of people going through on a global scale, certainly in the American scale, they are trigger words of cueing something not only distinctive from a standardized system of progressing through the culture, but they symbolize something that, while we all love and know, because we can't calculate it, because we can't grasp it, because we can't manage it in the same way that the kind of rational Western mind has done, the colonial mind has attempted, how it's succeeded, quote unquote, in all these ways. As he is doing that, it's kind of been just put in this back burner. And, we do these IQ tests and we try to measure, but it's always absent the core element of that, which is creativity, which is imagination, which is the invention of idea to thought to impression to words to manifestation of physical matter, or like a perceptual experience. So it's like,
yeah, that makes you question our whole idea as a society or globally of like what is intelligence and what is artificial intelligence. Like,
if it doesn't include the concept of creativity.
Yeah, and imagination. Right. Appreciate you for taking the time here today to like share some ancient wisdom with me and anyone tuning in tonight.
Big ups, bro. Yeah. Much love to everybody here at the space. Give me some.
Hell yeah.
That's swanky. Peep game.
Yeah.
Don't wait for things to be perfect out here. Don't wait for things to be perfect out here.
God bless these black bodies. God bless my black soul. God bless my heart. This world get crazy. This world get dark, but I won't lose my way. My candlelight remains. Look at the gun laws in California and Illinois. Better make some noise if you see a trend. Where the story starts, that's where it ends. Fred Hampton, Bobby Rush, Bobby Shield, Huey P. Power to the people, black community. You see what happens when we unify. If it's too much movement, then somebody dies. God damn it, I'm sick and tired. Gold cover like I'm King Tut. Wanna seek revenge, but that's not enough. That ain't God-like, that ain't Christ-like. I hear loud cries, keep me up at night. That's post-traumatic. The streets cook, shit ain't copacetic. Feeling prophetic. Connect the dots, I connect the people through the sound and art. This is storytelling mixed with game selling. Spoken word with a beat selection. Pivot proper, gotta keep them guessing while I drop gems. I got the keys, so luckily me and my niggas will never be boxed in.
You live in here. You leave there and go be in here. Because when your attention is again focused inside your own self, the attachments, the pull will weaken. Whenever you are established again in your own neutrality, your own presence, everything becomes
hidden ancient wisdom in my breath. Sacred system, take a minute to reflect. The matrix splitting and I'm spitting from my chest. Pray for forgiveness, ain't no mission, but I check just. Stay so efficient, maintain vision on the quest. Like Quato pigeon, shimmy, shimmy, then I deliver thanks to my ancestors. I am better and can never fold like my granny's handmade sweater. Money, pit me home, nam ya, renge kya, yeah. From the monks to the mantras, yogis and tantras, dollies to llamas, smoke to my rastas. I lay it up in my blood when I puff in my bud. Something above what you calling a monster. Look what they doing to guys, a planet of mama. Got them my father, see me and my posse mob and deep. Make homage to prodigy. You wanna be, you gotta see its possibility. Somewhere an anomaly when I'm dropping these hot soliloquy shit. This for the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, Egyptians, the Amazonians, Ethiopians, the English. English. The Buddhists, the Hindus, the Jews, Muslims, and Christians. The 5 pillars of hip-hop inside the 5 religions. It's the 5 pillars of hip-hop inside the 5 religions. It's the 5 pillars of hip-hop inside the 5 religions. It's the 5 pillars of hip-hop inside the 5 religions. It's the 5 pillars of hip-hop inside the 5 religions. Word.
If freedom and liberation are already what I am, why do I delay it and keep myself out of joy by continuing mental attachments to the last 2 people that I know in my heart are not real?